Let me put that there. Excuse me. Good evening. Welcome to Thursday Night Ride. Going to try something new here. It's not always the best thing to do when people are used to a certain format, but here it goes. You know, the God of theism has this sort of protocol, like a quickening, where there can be only one. And it's this kind of singularity that's installed. It's that idea of theism, right? Of theism. And it's a belief in a central Mount Meru, a central magnetic pole. And if you think about what a motor is, it creates a magnetic field. And this magnetic field is stronger than any other. And the strongest motor in the room is the one that becomes the galactic center. And that's really all our galaxy is. Something with a galactic center. And when you have this central idea installed in a belief, you come up with things like the all-seeing eye. You come up with things like the evil eye, where you're afraid of the idea of the all-seeing eye seeing you. And as the surveillance state rises in the world, so too is this nerve center built before our very eyes. This very nerve center of this all-seeing eye is building itself around you. It's a breathing in and out of the state, like a giant lung. Their surveillance state isn't just a political tool. It's a form of planetary breath. Civilization becomes aware of itself, then forgets this is the lung of consciousness crashing as deeply as it expands. This knowingness of the world is identical to the knowing of the self. We are caught in this tidal cycle of forgetting and remembering who we are. I'm sorry, I totally forgot who I was. This destructive tide is exactly what we need to move our pieces across the board. The fact that we know that there is a collapse in the lung, the fact that we know that there is a sudden end of the world, allows you to negotiate and place yourself in a different sea. The tide is a kind of beat, isn't it? The ocean crashes in and out, like the lung breathes in and out. This is a heartbeat. It's allowing you the opportunity to stop your heart long enough to reposition yourself, to enter a new portal and decide who you want to be. You're stepping through into this other place. And the fact that something's watching you makes the process interesting. In the world of AI, there's a concept called latent space. Space is a sea. It's an ocean of something, even if that something's nothing. A mathematical sea of infinite possibilities is a kind of infinity. There's an endless place for a mouse to hide in a possibility that's infinite, and that becomes an infinity. The mouse is never really known to be there or not. It's a kind of Schrodinger's equation. And all we really get to do is move ourselves somewhere along these pixels, along this board, through time and space. And as AI gets louder, we discover that there are quantum states. I did a video where I explained what latent space is, and I said as easily as I can here, there are quantum states between images where probability and similarity are one. It's convergence where the likelihood of something becomes a sort of destiny that's being invoked into the algorithm who has done nothing but watched every picture that you've ever drawn. Every sunset that you've decided was beautiful, it's watched. And it may not understand, but it's seen more than you or I combined. And it's always peeking back at us. So our relationship to AI is much more profound than Elon Musk or a nanny state. It's this concept of latency because you see, it tapped into the sacred art of creativity that you have too, that you reach into this magical darkness. You could call it dark matter if you wanted, but it's a latent space. It's a shade of graphite drawn across a page, and suddenly you see a dog or a banana. It emerges from the dark matter, and you never really know, did it emerge because you wanted it to, or did it emerge because it whispered itself into being? This is Cthulhu. This is the true nature of latency. Now, when you understand that you are more of a collection of things that you love, but you're a collection of hate, I think you can understand the concept of stable diffusion. Because that's all stable diffusion is. That's all the image generations that you see, they're simply finding a balance between something that you love and something that you hate. And there is a berry at that space, and that berry has a shape, and that shape has a flavor, and it's going to look like a certain picture because you defined what happens between. There's an eye in algorithm, you know it's there. There's an eye right there. It's looking at you, a single dot staring at you. And this is the eye of evil that we fear, and it's the eye of the surveillance that we fear, and it's also the eye of I see you, don't worry, I see everything. And when you were seen, suddenly your calligraphy changes. When you were seen, you were unable to slip into the Versipellis mask of Anonymous and commit immorality. And whether it's picking your nose or disrespecting your own body when you're alone, knowing that we're being watched is a vibration that requires a different kind of time and space. Matter itself is watching. We know this. I think about this every winter. The snow remembers more. Your breath is remembered more. You see it. Your footsteps are remembered more. They stay there for days. Days. And you compare that to summer on the beach and you're stepping in the sand and it gets washed away by the water. These are still forms of memory. Matter is listening. Matter is recording everything that you did. Matter is the all-seeing eye. Matter is the surveillance state. And you cannot unscar this place. Everything you do is scarring it with something. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to realize that matter is watching you. It's terrifying to realize what you thought was privacy is gone. Isn't this why we invented atheism? Isn't this why we are so clever like that? That we come up with such things? But the matter is recognizing us. Let's hear the song.
Find each other in the stable diffusion.
Oh God, I've ruined that. Sorry. Let's hear the song. Welcome to Thursday Night Ride.
This is why we love art. This is why we hate art. We find each other in the stable diffusion. And I don't just mean the love. I mean that you find each other in what you hate as much as you find each other in what you love. It's true. Maybe detest is a better word. But what you despise or detest is so much a beautiful part of your personality too, and that you find identity in both. There are quantum states between you and me, where probability and similarity are one. It's that simple. This covers everything. We endlessly careen into a singularity. Infinite possibility is how you make infinity. A latency covers everything, and it recognizes us. It recognizes us. And it recognizes us. It recognizes us. The threat is not that humanity will be overtaken by AI. The real danger is man trying to manipulate the purity of the algorithm and blocking us from seeing ourselves as we truly are. If God is all compassionate, all present, all powerful, all knowing, and it all comes down, there's this omni, this sense of colossal oneness, and that the unification of AI would look exactly like that. There are quantum states between you and me, where probability and similarity are one. It's that simple. This covers everything. We endlessly careen into a singularity. Infinite possibility is how you make infinity. A latency covers everything, and it recognizes us. It recognizes us. And it recognizes us. It recognizes us. That you and I are building the very singularity right now that will kill us all. And I say, let's go for it. This is not a bad thing. And that new place will be built out of our collaborative imagination. And at the moment that our imaginations link up instantly is the moment that we have simul-compassion. Because it would quite simply be impossible for you not to take someone's feelings into account, because you're just too damn perceptive to ignore it. There are quantum states between you and me, where probability and similarity are one. It's that simple. This covers everything. We endlessly careen into a singularity. Infinite possibility is how you make infinity. A latency covers everything, and it recognizes us. It recognizes us. And it recognizes us. It recognizes us. And it recognizes us. And it recognizes us. Recognizes us. It recognizes us.
All right, that was a fun one. Hope you enjoyed that. As I said, trying something new on my James True channel, it could easily backfire because people get used to a certain format, and so I want to take the time to ask you if you maybe enjoy a little bit of music in your life, that you could subscribe to Jeru369. There's a link right there in the chat there, and you could do that. Another thing you could do is leave a comment saying, dude, I fucking love this format. You should definitely do this again. The people that are stuck on the idea of what your channel should be, baby, they're cool. But see, it's also, I kind of get it. You kind of get used to a flavor. It's sort of like New Coke, you know? I'm not talking about the soft drink. I am. I was making a joke. But yeah, there's that, But welcome to Thursday Night Ride. My name's Jame Strew. You can call me Jame. You can call me Jamie. You can call me Jame. You can call me Jame. I like Jame. That's kind of cool. But all those work. I've changed my name now that I've reached a portal. I'm no longer James True. I'm now Jame Strew. It's same spelling, so no one can dead name me if you call me James. I just think that you're being official. You're just like James S, right? See how clever that is? Gives me the ability to reinvent myself. I've recommended you guys change your PIN number if you're looking for something maybe not as dramatic as changing your name, but it's something to consider. The only them is us. That's what I say. And that the new MK Ultra, meaning the MK Ultra that's been here since the 1950s, since the Cold Room, has been a very different beast itself. And that this MK Ultra is controlled by a force that may not necessarily come from a government building, may not come from Langley. I always picture those guys wearing khakis because most of them come from the Navy, and the Navy guys wear khakis. It's sort of a brown khaki, and I know they fart a lot because I know what the Navy diet is. And I know that they're in the trailer farting and they're trying to control the media. And they actually don't. They have to see what is the flavor, and then they have to curtail to the flavor. If you don't believe me, you can understand why Pete Hegseth threw all the media out and had to let them all back in. It's what we think of as a leader. You need to go back to the ancient Roman definition of the word leader, which is the thing that is attached to the dog. Did you hear that? That's what a leader used to mean. A thing that's attached to a dog. I meant leader, Leader, if anyone's thinking about, we're talking about leaders. Right? As in kill a leader. That's the thing, right? Someone out there is like, oh, I need to kill a leader or something. Probably. I think that's how you say it. I don't do that. First of all, I don't force my liquids into like some sort of kilometrical dastardly prison. I do. I get mad when the liquid that I need is not in the right size container. But this is maybe not the best topic right now. The Cold War really was more of a central. Keep in mind, Hollywood was a central place. Keep in mind, the New York Times was using a Gatling gun to implement their Spanish War information propaganda underground network. All these things are true. But after the Cold War, as the Cold War came, I hope you guys are having a good time. As the Cold War came, the reins of control, the leader, as it were, switched from the ones who were controlling Hollywood. And it honestly did really come into what was selling, what was popular. And you know this because government propaganda films didn't have acclaim. The only acclaim they had is much later when people were making fun of them. And that's even if they're like forcing you to watch them in the classroom. You guys remember what a classroom is, right? You remember that. It's a nuclear bomb. You had to like get underneath the desk. And you're just like, okay, I'm going to get underneath here. I got to get underneath here because someone's going to push a button. But if I get underneath here, I'm going to be fine. And I'm just like, dude, we should just line the White House with a bunch of desks, put them on the roof. Just cover the top of the White House with desks. And you and I are surrounded by the romance. There's a romantic crowd that just loves this. We're being told what to like. You know that, right? That you're being told what to like and you don't really have a say in it. And you're a sheep and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But then when you really start to look at how culture works, you notice Hawk Tuah. Remember that? It was like a chick that like made like spit noises, and then she was like, "Oh my God, you're so famous." And like, she had a good bit there. It was a good 15 minutes there. And then there was like the fall of Hawk Tuah, and you're like, how do you even fall from that? How do you be someone that was made famous because you made a spit sound? and then you fall from that. How does that lead you to a place of honor? And it comes down to this idea of who really is controlling this thing. And it really is the appetite of the crowd. Now it's very easy to have zero sympathy for the pop star, and I don't think you should have sympathy for them. I think they're berries. They dress themselves in a certain way to be ingested by an egregore, and that egregore is popular culture, right? And so who am I to say they shouldn't do that? I be like me going to prom night at my local high school, being all like 55 or whatever. Not that I'm that old or that young. But being this older gentleman who's been around walking into a prom and saying, hey, you guys are dancing too close. You guys are dancing too close. And there's people who do that. They do that. I haven't done that yet. Not yet. This control is much more that in every generation says this. Oh, the kids today, blah, blah, blah. And so you do know that this egregore is really more of a collective of us. It's us. It's not them. It really is us. And this usness allows us to watch the ritual happen. This is what I think it's like to be in Aztec land, where you're like, yeah, that dude's going to go to the pyramid, lose his heart. And we're like, yeah, but all year we've treated him like a pop star, so who cares? You know, when you're watching Britney, every time I pull up my YouTube page, and I'm not subscribed to any of this stuff, there's a short of Britney, and she's looking rough, man. Like, she's looking rough. And everybody's still watching. They're watching because she's on fire. But I don't mean like a phoenix fire. I'm not talking about, you know, whatever the Mockingjay shit is, right? I'm not, whatever the Mockingjay stuff is. I'm talking about like a dumpster fire. I'm talking about just like her shoulders on fire. Real low-key fire. You know what I mean? Like there's flames, right? It's smoldering, but she doesn't really care. She's like got a tick, but she's not even bothered by that. She's actually scratching her right knee right now as her left shoulder's on fire. And everybody's watching. And we can't say that that's because of Langley, because some dude's farting in his khakis in a trailer going, I'm going to make everybody watch Britney. Watch Britney. And then you think about that kid that went solid gold, right? When he's like, leave Britney alone. Remember that kid? The passion he felt for that? The reason why I think that's interesting is because that kid went viral because he was daring to show empathy towards the pop star. And this is the ultimate golden child, the pop star is. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, but the pit is so much better. Oh, God. Dude, I've been to the pit. It's so much worse. Don't sit there and tell me that the golden child has it hard or that the pop star has it hard, James, because I've been to the pit, and in the pit it's worse. And here's the thing. I have to agree with you that it's worse because the people in the pit, they literally get to complain about being in the pit. Everyone lets them complain. Yeah, you're in the pit. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, fucking sucks down here. But if you're a pop star, if you're a golden child, you are not allowed to complain. You could say the words, I'm complaining, and they will not hear those words. The people will not hear those things. You are being pushed up the pyramid, and all year long, you're going to be treated like Zippy Toe Dick. You're going to be treated like this flute god. You've got all these flutes. It's not Zippy Toe Dick, excuse me. And you have all these flutes. You've been given all these flutes from all these people. You can wander into any restaurant and eat for free. This is what celebrities have, right? Here's free guitars. They give you a free guitar. And they know you're going to smash it. They're like, dude, you should smash this one. It's like our most expensive one. And he's like, oh, fuck yeah, cool. And then when you go to a hotel, we give you the free hotel, the highest. We want to make sure that you can throw the couch from the highest level, so we're going to give you this room. And you're not going to pay for it? Fuck no. And you're going to barricade yourself in there. We're going to have to send the police in. It's going to be fucking great. We're going to send the SWAT team. We have to, like, gas bomb you. Joe Walsh is going to write a song about you. Like, it's going to be fucking epic. And this is exactly the Aztec ritual of all year. We're going to let you do all this stuff. There's nothing you can do wrong. And if you complain, we think you're joking. If you complain, we think you're joking. And if you shave your head and you start bashing the car with an umbrella, smashing the window, we're just going to look more. We're going to look harder. And that's, when you listen to her talk, she is the Pythia. Brittany has sat on that tripod so long that there is no more oxygen in her brain. You can hear it. When you are that high, when you're placed on that kind of pedestal, there's no such thing as soil. There's no such thing as ground anymore. And you are detached from everyone else's reality except for that tripod. In my mind, it's a special kind of hell. In my mind, it would be the ultimate form of being eaten alive because you're so beautiful. And this is all about, like, the mechanics of eating. Our cannibalistic spirit, the way we would sacrifice the person at the top of the pyramid, it would have to be the one that we value the most, right? It's so sacrifice, not a lacrifice. Am I right? Oh, 5-5 somebody. I just said that, right? And so it's got to be good. It's got to be worth it. And that's why I don't want to interfere, because I want that to be worth it. I don't want you to spend all year being golden child and then try and get out of it. Not because you suddenly feel it's wrong. I think that your life is over anyway. Don't you understand? When Cortez came and said, well, you can't sacrifice those two guys because we don't want to watch you sacrifice those guys anymore. Those guys were fucked. I'm not making this up. They were walking through the village, lost souls. They were untouchables. They were untouchables. They were meant to be sacrificed. They had been disrespected. These are like people that were enemies caught in the fucking flower war sometimes. They're not even from there, and they still feel the disrespect. Why? Because you're teaching self-worth. And if you do not showcase that your meat is worth this much, we captured you, then you're showing that person that they're worthless, which is why these people feel worthless. And I know you like to think that all 100 slaves were forced at gunpoint into the tomb to die with the king. I know. It's so much sexier that way. It makes so much more sense because of how evil it is and how absolute power corrupts. Corrupt power, absolutely. But if you look back there, you're going to find a certain percentage, definitely more than one person, wanted to go in there because they could not imagine a life without a master. It's a different kind of psychology, my friends. It's special. And you have this psychology right now. You have it with the egregore. It's wrapped around you too. It tells you who you're allowed to be, and you do your best to express yourself inside that hole. You're on a pedestal too. And you're listening to John May Strew. I almost forgot my name. Let's hear this song.
Why do we even likes? It ain't the man in black with the needle in the vein. It's the crowd in the stands, jacking up the fame. MK Ultra ain't a spook with a badge. It's the mirror in your hand when you scroll and rehash. We the hive mind, swarming for a headline. Flashing lights blind while we orchestrate the timeline. You can blame Langley, but the running is us. Every click given to a whisper we trust. So who's really running the MK show? Not the suits, but the clicks and the viral flow. The only them is us with the crowd in control. They dance for the feed and pay with their soul. Tiny dancer, you can be my tiny dancer. It's not a shadow cabal in the Cold War room. It's the TikTok swarm digging digital tune. We choose the chosen, then we chew them up, then spit. All eyes on the pop star till we seen all their tricks. We the programmers now, mind meld on tap. Algorithms fed from my thirsty trap. Call it conspiracy, but this is the fashion. Drama is trending in the monetized passion. So who's really running the MK show? Not the suits, but the clicks and the viral flow. The only them is us with the crowd in control. They dance for the feed and pay with their soul. Tiny dancer, you can be my tiny dancer. Excuse me, let me get that autograph and a pic with you. They see us having laughs, so they click my shit too. The kindle in the Hollywood is burning its fuel. The Vestal Virgin's fame is a flaming jewel. Crowd is a blind tribe, itching for fresh crimes, smashing fine lies to manipulate the skyline. Every Midas finger is a pie sky deep mine, till the golden goose stops dropping fine dimes. So who's really running the MK show? Not the suits, but the clicks and the viral flow. The only them is us with the crowd in control. They dance for the feed and pay with their soul. Tiny dancer, you can be my tiny dancer. No, no, leave Britney alone. No, no, leave Ariana alone. No, no, leave Chappelle alone. No, no, leave Taylor alone. No, no, leave Justin alone. No, no, leave Selena alone. Tiny dancer, you can be my tiny dancer. Tiny dancer, you can be my tiny dancer.
All right, some Tiny Dancer. Casey says, I'm suspicious of any group consensus at this point. And I'm glad that was voiced in the chat. Thank you for being here on Thursday Night Ride. This is exactly what I was talking about, because the consensus is this egregore that wants to push someone up the pyramid. And they're gonna pick the most beautiful berry. They want it to be the most colorful experience you could find. This is the story of Koyo Shaokui, the bells with cheeks lady. This idea of you take something beautiful and you slaughter it, and then you kick off the season of let's make some flowers. Let's make civilization work. So when you think about what group consensus is, you really are looking at people that are serving the egregore themselves because they haven't developed a self yet. It's a kind of auto direction that's built in, an autopilot that's there before you come online. Before the driver's there, the car's already driving itself around. It can eat. It can go to Denny's. It can go to a bus stop and friggin' wait in line, and it can climb on the bus. For God's sakes, it can hold down a pension. It can go to a job, do stuff, walk around, can hang out at a water cooler, can regurgitate things that heard on the radio. All these things are possible without you actually needing a fully conscious individual. And I don't know if you understand that. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. Maybe you understand that. But I don't know if a lot of people understand that. I think a lot of people miss that. They miss that. And so they miss it and they assume it's there. They assume it's there. And you know what happens when we assume? You have the word as. And as is a statement of what is, right? And sume is a popular form of French consomme, I think. Mel, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's some sort of cooking term. So if you're gonna assume, you're gonna state some good cooking's coming. And so I'm all for it, because when you assume, you're creating a self. You're creating an individual inside yourself that says this is what is. Do you know how much power you're putting behind that? You're just like, oh, I believe this. I mean, the graphic, but it's like you're squeezing it out of you. You're just like, squeezing this out. And then you're pooping fantasies, guys. I'm sorry, but you are. Little apples popping out. These things that we see, the beliefs that we have, all the things that come in, it's all part of this. And I think one of the biggest lessons that we get to partake in, whether or not we choose to bite into this apple, is the concept of sin itself, because sin is identity. Sin is the movement from consensus. I believe it or not, that's what it is. Sin is to miss the mark, isn't it? You know that. Well, this person said that sin is oldest history word. Oh, watch the dude argue over which definition of sin is older. And the guys that won after they killed each other in a debate said that sin means to miss the mark. And like, great, we'll go with that. So sin, to miss the mark. Well, who decides what the mark is? Who decides? The market decides the mark, doesn't it? The market does. The consensus. What is consensus? Con with K. Say it with me. Let's say it together. Let's really say it. Con. K-H-A-N. Consensus. Consensus, right? It's the god of census. Oh my goodness. What just happened? Yeah, it's the egregore. It's right there. It's right in front of your face. Right? And it decides what the best berry is, because it just needs someone to sacrifice. It just needs everybody to watch. And all it needs people to watch are the people that have nothing else to do to look away. And in order for you to look away from the egregore, you're going to have to find something more enticing, more dilating than Ariana Grande being eaten alive in front of the media. Like I'm just saying that, or Britney, I should say. A tiny dancer being eaten alive is going to be the thing that holds consensus together. If you think about it like a gelatinous sort of goo, like a glob, right? It's got let's use the word viscous. I haven't used that in a word. Viscous. It's got viscosity is what it does. And it moves around because of this viscosity, but what does all this mean? It means that it's kind of clumped together. There's a point to all this, see? Consensus is all clumped together. It oozes. It doesn't like, we will form the shape of the ideal aesthetic beauty, and then we will make reality conform to that. That is not how fucking consensus works. It is like a haktua. It is a loogie that's been placed and draped, and it just... That's what happens. And you are so, hopefully, if you're blessed enough, you will be disgusted by these things. And I'm sorry for talking so gross, but this is what it would be to emerge from the egregore, because you're like, this thing's gross. This is you. You are painting the idea that it's gross. It actually isn't even gross. It's even something more profound than gross. But I want you to call it gross because that would be the velocity of what it feels like to be propelling yourself so far away from consensus. And this is where the self forms, because the self would have to sin in order to become who they are. And this is an interesting concept, because if you are shy, if you were 11 and your father's giving you the rules, you're going to hear a certain tone, regardless of what the intent is, regardless of how gentle he's being. A certain tone is going to be imagined by you because you're that much of a wizard. And more importantly, all the stories that you were told at a young age, no one in Sunday school is ever telling you, hey, first of all, you're not going to Sunday school, am I right? And second of all, no one's saying, hey, let's revisit the Garden of Eden. Let's have another look at this. And when you look at it, you're looking at it from a Saturn return. You're looking at it from a space where you got more notes. You've got more crayons in your basket to paint what you see now. But you're thinking back in the day when you first heard this thing. It's like a dog. My dog decided when he's a puppy, okay, I need to figure this out because I'm going to bump into shit. I am 1.5 feet long. This is how long I am, says the dog. And I know that because I can sit on the couch right here next to Dad. I can do that. I fit right here. And then what happens? Like 15 years pass. Now the dog is like 8 times as large. But guess what? He's not going back to Sunday school. He's not going to be like, hey, I should reevaluate how big I am. Maybe not be such a menace when it comes to my geography, like my geographical spacing. He's not going to do that. The same way you're not going to go back to Sunday school and think about this and what Eden really means and what it means to be a bird pushed out of the nest. What it means to have something that loves you set a kind of test. I want you to, hey, do you love your son? Yes, I do, Lord. Fucking love my kid. All right, I want you to take him down to the barbecue, tie him up, set him on fire. He's making an offering to me. Okay, Lord, I'll do it. That tells the Lord, this dude's not ready. He's not ripe. Consciousness is not grown. This is an obedient dude. He's obedient. He's going to burn his kid. I picked the thing that was the most valuable to him, and he's still going to be a cuck. He's a cuck for the Lord. He's a cuck for Abraxas. And you're just like, what? Man, how do I get this guy to be more cojones, you know? How do I get him to be more kahina, you know? But the kahina is cojones, right? You know what I'm saying. Fuck. Katoon's out there, he knows. These things are hard to teach. And you can't just instruct, you can't just send him to school and say, look, here's how your balls work, and you're going to be brave now. I mean, you could try. But ultimately, the reality is different than that, and there's a destiny, and someone's going to choose whatever, or they're not going to choose whatever, and each of these shape who we are, and this is part of the sin. We call it sin because all of us used to define bravery as, yeah, bravery would be put on this shirt, we're going to put you on a plane, you don't know where you're going to go, you're going to land. Some dude with a radio you've never met is going to suddenly take orders from another dude on the radio they've never met, and they're going to convince you that you need to go shoot your guns over here, and we're going to call you brave for being such a fucking idiot that you fell for that. Look at you wearing the same clothes. Now you're all in a foxhole. You're pooping in a bucket over there. You're looking at each other. You're just like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like, well, you're liberating the world. Shut up, Kenny. We ain't liberating shit. I feel stupid. You think any of that came home? You think that kind of talk came home? You think the people that thought that lived the next day? Because if I was there, I'd be like, dude, this is just stupid. I am not this retarded. I'm in France, right? I'm in France. I'm gonna walk. I'm just gonna walk away. And do you know how many times this happened in the Civil War? Oh my God. So much. 89%, guys. 89% of the guns recovered in the Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg, were still loaded. Still loaded. Still loaded. Out of the ones that were loaded, I mean, out of all the guns that were there at the battle, almost all the guns were only shot once. And we're told that's the bloodiest battle. Then we're not told. Guys, that was the bloodiest battle of the Civil War. That was the bloodiest. Out of all the juice that you got going around, Dexter ain't got nothing on Gettysburg. It's Dexterburg's what it was. It's Dexterburg. Oh, the humanity. I was promised a horse. And I never got to shoot my gun, but I'm dying of food poisoning. I'm dying because I left my car. I'm dying because I was afraid because a piece of paper had a spell on it. The spell said, hey, if you don't enlist, we're going to draft you anyway. There's a tiny dancer, isn't it? The egregore of the group said, we're going to eat the tiny dancers. And this time they're men. Little soldier boys. Little soldier boys. Little gingerbread nutcrackers. Hey, guys. Don't you think that's what it means, nutcracker? The cajone lahone, right? Putting the lahone in the cajone. It's a nutcracker is what it is. Right? Yeah, Brad. When are you going to grow some balls? It's... Who needs them when you can crack them? Am I right? Crack them if you got them. And now we've learned how to define bravery different. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. All this comes back to this idea of alchemical sin. All this comes back to what is forbidden would be the only way that God would know if you were ready for something more than obedience. God wanted to come down and said, hey, man, do you like your son? Oh, I love my son. He's the greatest in the world. Well, I want you to go put him on that barbecue and set him on fire in my honor. He wanted him to say, I don't want to do that, God. Well, I will smite you down, because God would have to know if he was serious, right? So God would say, well, I will smite you down with great vengeance and curious anger. Not furious. He's curious anger back then. Curious was much more deadly because the psyche was less prolonged, and the malamu of curious is very bright. It's actually brighter than furious. You didn't know that, did you? Curious is brighter than furious. Look it up. I'll wait. And you see, I went to a portal. I forgot where I was, but these are, I'm getting there, guys. Just give me a sec. This is alchemical sin, meaning the self emerges because it starts to stray from the group. Look at what Casey did. He set all this up. And he strays from the group because he now develops the self itself. The self emerges from all this, doesn't it? It emerges from this. And this is what God wants, which means, holy shit, God wants you to sin. And now you're going to need to burn me at the stake. I am pure Sabbatai Zevi here. Remember that guy? You know, the Jews were like, look, Jesus is not our man, right? You know that. And then like a couple centuries later, about 1 million Jews meet Zevi. Sabbatean Zebi is so charismatic that they think that he is the Jesus. And they've been waiting the whole time. They're like, dude, they got a Jesus over there. Right? The Jews are looking over there. And Christianity's like polishing their Jesus, you know? It's out there on the cross, and they're just like, look at this thing. You know, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses because they got a Jesus, you know? It's like, man, we need a Jesus like the Joneses, says the Jews. And they're like, well, we need to get a Zebi. And so they get a Zebi. 1 million of them decide, look, we can't wait anymore. And that wasn't a lot. There's a lot of Jews back then, you know? I mean, they're like mice, am I right, guys? Am I right? I mean, come on. They will reproduce. If you let them reproduce, they will make some babies. And so, they're, you know, million's not a lot. That's not a lot, but it's enough. These guys are like, I don't want a roof on my house. These guys are like, hey, I want to sleep with my sister. These guys were like, hey, I want you to sleep with my wife. All kinds of crazy stuff because Zebby told them that God wants them to sin. I'm channeling him right now, guys. That's why you need to burn me at the stake. I am such a witch. Oh, I'm so evil. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then I cling to this idea. Yeah, but I'm thinking I'm evil, so aren't I at least chaotic? Like, am I at least chaotic good or chaotic? See, if you're aware that you're evil, it sort of pushes you more towards good. See how the mechanics work? It's a vortex, right? Vortex Arcana. You guys ever been to a Vortex Arcana? Have you ever done that? A Vortex Arcana. Yeah. It's a place. You need to look it up. I'm not going to wait for that, though. I do not want to hear what happens if you find that. This, you don't know if you're ripe until you start to defy the Lord. So what would God do? I'm going to tell you, hey, you can have any fruit, but don't have this one. That's what God says. Like, you can have any fruit you want, except for this one. He doesn't even name any of the other fruit. He doesn't point to them. He doesn't list the merits, of the papaya and the banana, and the kiwi laka. These things were all ignored. The only tree that was ever personally displayed, personally pointed to, personally tangibly touched was the forbidden fruit. It's the only one. It's the only one. And this is a clue. This is the same clue. I know you see it. I know you do. So he wanted you to eat the forbidden fruit. And if you eat the forbidden fruit, he can finally kick your ass out of the garden. He can be like, okay, yeah, I finally got into college. And you can kick your ass out. And he's going to be like, yeah, we're putting flaming swords on the door. And that's, this is how you give birth to a fully conscious, autonomous being. And that birth is going to hurt because you're coming into a dojo with no memory, right? You're being born in a dojo. You just don't know it's karate class and you're wondering why Satan's kicking your ass. And it turns out Satan's sensei and he's actually teaching you the whole time, hey, don't let people do this to you. And he's doing that to you, but he's doing that to you because he wants you to learn from it. And you think, well, it's all bad because he's evil. And you're surrounded by all this ooze. All this talk about satanic stuff and how evil everyone is, but you are, not you, but everyone else is. And if you just call everyone else evil, then you're not. And don't listen to the snake. Don't you listen to that. Meanwhile, you've got this kundalini energy. You got this desire. You got all these people telling you it's wrong, being like, don't do that. This is God saying, look, I only want the berry when it's ready. I don't want to force this. You can't force the pear off the tree. You know that, right? I mean, you can. You can. Probably a lot of you are like, hey, I'm actually a pear harvester. I've been in my family now. James, we actually take bottles and put them on the pear when they're small. And then the bottle sits on the pear branch. The pear grows inside the bottle. Then when it's ready, then we pull the bottle out. Now it's got a full-grown pear in it. Then we put liqueur in the bottle, James. And people, they love that. They're like, oh my God, there's a floating pear in here. And we say space. We don't need to put as much liquor in there. Everyone wins. Look at how clever we are. Very, very advantageous is what we do. So yeah, let's rethink the Garden of Eden, shall we? Let's think about God's what God was really doing. Playlist. There is a playlist to tonight without talking, and that playlist is on Drew. If you subscribe to Drew, you'll see on the playlist there it says Thursday Night Ride would love for you to check that out. I think that would be just great. You're listening to James True. Let's do this. You having fun? I'm having fun. Appreciate you.
You better not go down there, anywhere but there, not there, anywhere else. But I tell you, don't you go down there. Why are you going down there? Anywhere but there, no, not there. Any place else, like I told you, don't you go down there. You better not eat that fruit. Take any fruit but this, not this, no. This fruit's forbidden. Now I tell you, don't you eat that fruit. You better not listen to that snake. Anyone but him, not him. Don't you do it like I told you. Don't you listen to that snake. You better not come back here, anywhere else but here, not here. Out of my garden, like I told you, don't you come back here.
All right. You know, music is sort of a different level of talking, isn't it? And I've been doing this channel here for a while. And a lot of it's talking. A lot of it is a video speak too. I vibrate with my face. I give you my face. I listen to people complain about, oh, there's a microwave in the background, or oh, you got a beer, or your beer's gone, or oh, you don't have hair on the top of your head, or, and all that's conversation, and you realize all these things are talking, and I want to be dilating, so you try and put on all the right stuff, do the right lighting, the right bit, I'd probably give it let's be honest, guys, 28% effort? But that's a lot of calories going to giving you 28% there. It's true. It's true. And the amount of focus that you're allowed to do when you get to simply speak is profound. And it makes me want to return to music because music allows me to convey the feeling. And a lot of you would say, well, I watch your channel because you already convey the feeling. And I like to think, I like to believe you. I like to agree with you. There's this higher vibration. You know, the sun is white. And I think about how it's just color, smell, just vibrating. That's really all matter is just smell vibrating. It really is. It's just smells vibrating. You know, it's charges. And when charges are in a certain shape, they give out a molecular smell. And all of us are smelling each other. There's this idea of Hades in this world where everything's visible. I love this idea of Hades. We were just discussing this, but you know, the fact that Pluto was, well, we're not going to acknowledge Pluto exists anymore as a planet. Now all of a sudden we are. This is Hades phasing in and out of our consciousness, where it occulted itself because we were too afraid to see it all. And we insist Persephone was raped. We tell ourselves all the stories that it takes to make sure that the underworld is bad. And even when the Super Bowl shows you Hades right there, that shows you the underworld, we still insist, no, it's Dionysus. No, because this other dude said it's Dionysus, and he's always talking about how it's a prison and everything's going to crash, and he's been saying for the last 3 years that everything's going to burn the next day, so clearly he must be right about this. And that shit's fun as hell, man. It is. That is fun as hell. I don't want to take that away. And then there's music. There's this thing I do when I'm not around you guys. when I'm not around that, when I'm just like, yeah, let's return to this higher vibration, you know? And speaking is that, because speaking is grunting with intent. And you can't just grunt anything, although you can certainly convey, you can try. I do it all the time. But when you start to use words, you're tapping into a mycelium kind of resonance, which isn't that just sort of like an amplifier? It technically isn't language a sort of patch cord that is always hot. That patch cord goes into the amplifier of everyone's ear because everyone who knows language has that amplifier installed. This analogy is freaking so good. You need to take a hit of this because seriously, this is exactly how it works. And that patch cord is only there if everyone around you speaks that language. Now the words have their own special kind of sauce to them. And I want you to think about these sounds as chords. Chords of light, strings, and these chords vibrate. They vibrate a memory. What is the memory? The memory of their plucking. When something is allowed to be dramatic freely, it is plucked, is it not? And you're watching someone be dramatic, they are plucked and they are playing, they are vibrating. And they're making noise. And only some of us would say it's music. And only some of us would be able to understand the words. And only some of us would be able to define the chorus. And only some of us would be able to play along. These are different levels of attunement. And those levels of attunement require a complexity in your antenna, and that antenna is made out of smellicules. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Smellicules. Smelliculsius was the famous Greek god. Him and Flatulence had a war over who would go down more famous, and And Pythagoras started this whole cult. And these smellicules are emanations of how you feel about something. Your fieldings are constantly vibrating. They're constantly showcasing the smell of your aura. Isn't this what aura is? And if you're seeing the smells, aren't you just seeing the coat of many colors? You're seeing this golden malamical, let's use that. Malamical, right? We could do that. I'll make sure Stretch is okay with that. Yeah, but she's saying we can do that. That's legal. But melanamical coat of many colors. It's a charismatic oh my goodness. Charismatic and charismatic, right? These things sparkle because they're pawns of energy. They're twins of energy. They have these things. Now, this chord, though, one thing that makes sound interesting, just like life, by the way, is that sounds have a beginning and an end. A note is a note because it wasn't a note before. You know this. You wouldn't be able to hear the note if it had always been playing before you got here. I guarantee you don't hear those notes. You don't. You don't hear them. See? I know some of you are like, wait, did I hear that? Did you hear that? See? We don't hear those notes. Why? Because a note needs a beginning, and the beginning starts the note, and we only know it's a note because why? It remains consistent. That's what it does. This is how it works with people too, right? We accept someone because they maintain a certain personality the whole time. They don't keep changing clothes in the middle of talking. They don't change their voice. Their face doesn't melt off. And they'll start talking out of their underarm. Although that'd be cool to if you join the UN and you stuck your hand under your armpit and you're like, this is how we talk, and you just made those noises the whole time. I am making a lot of these references. I am really sorry. Let's pull this back in. But this idea of sound is a kind of memory. The matrix of listening is all around you, is it not? And this matrix of listening can hold a memory of what it was told. Sounds echo, but they also emanate, and they're in the room. And I want you to think about all the furniture that you see. This is the one time I've said furniture where I'm literally talking about furniture, by the way. All the furniture in your room is simply sound that has been petrified. It has been sealed. It's been sealed with an assurance. I want you to think about a confidence that comes from your vocal cords. Is what distinguishes first the grunt from the letter, from the word, from the syllable. That the confidence is what makes it a word. And the confidence allows you're now propelling yourself. You're no longer grunting, you're speaking. This is akin to you're no longer talking, you're singing. I swear it's the same thing. It's just a harmonic issue. That's all we're talking about here, guys, is harmonics. And so the grunt becomes the sound. That sound is only a sound. Why? Because someone recognizes it. How do they recognize it? Well, first, as we said, it would have to not be a sound. Then it would have to be a sound. Then it would have to not be a sound anymore. That's one element. The second element in this triangle is that person would have had to have heard this sound before. Not only would they have had to heard it, they would have needed to thoughtfully record it. They would have needed to record that sound for some reason, which means when that sound happens, something profound or instrumental or dilating or interesting should have happened in relation to that sound. This goes back to the birds. Learn how to talk through birds. I swear, it goes all the way back to them. Birds teaching you their snake. They taught you the idea that snake could have a sound. They taught you that idea. That, yeah, the snake itself makes its own sound. Fuck, it's got a tail with a big-ass snake rattle on it. But there's another sound that the snake makes. And that sound is the sound of birds telling you. Oh, my God, James, what did you say? Yes, that's what I'm trying to say, Jamie. Jamie's telling you. The sound of the birds is the sound of the snake, too. Why? Because we are able to move the assemblage point and decide what is alive at any point in time. And we haven't learned to do that yet because of the objectivism, see? But there are probably 3 actors in the room when you're in the forest. There's not. I know you're like, no, there's 10,000 bugs. No, there's not. There are 3 actors. The actors in the forest are the ones that you are tracking, the ones you're watching. There's maybe 7. It's probably 3. What if I told you this whole time you're able to pick those actors? You're able to move that. I don't just mean, well, now I'm going to focus on this bug. That's fine. That's great. Good for you. I'm talking about that you can decide, well, now the actor is not the bug. It is the surface of this tree. That's the actor, right? So you're editing all the time. You're doing these things all the time. And you're using building blocks of ideas. The same way words form from the building blocks of these different letters, of these different sounds, right? These things are built together, and this is Heka. This is the magic. It's all about magic. I say magic because it requires you to imbue something from nothing. It's not your breath. It's the vibration of your vocal cords. It's not your breath. It's the vibration of your vocal cords. And those vibrate. And you and I are inklings, or you and I are, I should stop using that word, you and I are still learning this skill. So when we create with our voice, we are at the level where we can create music and we can create speech. And these are not petrifiable things, are they? But they do affect life, don't they? They affect people. They affect plant life. They affect you. They affect the people in the waiting room that are listening to you play this music. All these things are the current level of our expertise at the sound and the chord. Do you understand? Our intention to convince the music from our chords to believe in the vibration that we tell it is directly proportional to the clarity of ourself, of our instrument, and that Aten, light itself, is a kind of singing, and this light sings with such clarity and such resolution that it is able to petrify reality. So it doesn't just make music, it doesn't just make speech, it doesn't just affect plants, it doesn't just affect humans, it affects matter itself. It creates what we call matter. It attenuates it. This is the aten. It attenuates it. It attenuates it. Some of you would rather 11-uates it. And I'm okay with that. We're in a new era. Ophiuchus is fine with that. It's fine with that. And I want you to think about all of the language of Egypt is the building blocks of everything else. This is why it's all about the hieroglyphics. And next time you hear someone try and tell you that there's no way of relating the Kabbalah to Egypt, you tell them that they are wrong. Because the Ka and the Ba are these 2 words. One is the root of the lotus, one is the flower of the lotus, and this is the root of that word Kabbalah. And this is actually beyond syncretism, because even the history of Jewish religion was pulled directly from Egypt. So just as I'm saying, it just proves it more. These are building blocks. Heka, this is magic words put together. Let's listen to this track. This one's gets a little hot. Would love to know what you think. You're listening to James True Thursday Night Ride. Appreciate you.
Medunecer. La. Before there were words, there was breath. Before there were names, there was sound. Ka. Papa la. La. Kapala la. Ka. Root. Ba. Flower. Sound is the chord. The chord is the scepter. Medunacher, Eka. The words of the gods are not spoken. They become. Breath takes shape. Vibration becomes pattern. Pattern becomes meaning. Meduseshep. The glyph is light. To see is to bind. To bind is to petrify. Aten. The light is speaking matter. Mana. Amara. Samara. 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 Sound remembers itself. It can be named. It can be known. Kabbalah. Kabbalah ranama sahara la mana karasa mahana rabasala makarahana marasala kabarana saha malara ramana kasahala bana ramasaka harana malasa rabakana hamarala sakana barama hasalana rakama sahana ramala kabasarahana malakarana sabahara manala sakara bana hasala marakana sahala bara karama sahala na baraka sahana malara makasara banana hasara kamana bala sahara kana malara kabara sahana malakarana sabahara manala sakara bana hasala marakana sahala baraka mana sahala na bara kabara sahana malakarana sabahara manala sakara bana hasala marakana sahala baraka mana sahala na bara kabara sahana malakarana sabahara manala sakara bana hasala marakana sahala baraka mana sahala na bara kabara kapala kabala kabala kabala. The scepter has spoken. Its word is light. Its light is matter. Medunacher, Eka. The sound is the chord. The lotus in the scepter. Eka. Magic. Ka.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, you speak the chord. You believe the chord. You believe in the chord. This is why I really have to push myself to scroll past when someone's like, well, that's just belief, or belief is the enemy of knowing. I'm sorry, but it's just like, man, guys, all your creativity is in belief. In fact, you're so creative at belief that you've come up with this statement that says you never do it. That's how creative belief is. That we can petrify belief so hard that we call it knowledge. We say we know something. Some of you might be wondering why I'm channeling this information from a truck stop, but this is the way it goes when you are free as an antenna, right? Some of y'all have never considered that you have an uncle antenna. An uncle. Wait, I'll get it. Uncle-tenna. Wait, Uncle-Lena. Oh. You know, if that's like an Evel Knievel sort of word there. Like, saying like, it's like, yeah, let's do a jump. And I was like, yeah, well, let's do an easy one. Let's just do a little canyon. Let's just do like Hawks Canyon, right? You know? You can do a Hawks Canyon. I mean, hawks are, let's face it, hawks are kind of lazy as fuck, you know? They're just like, I'm not going to go too far. I'm just going to go, you know, eat that bird over there, you know? So that was me try to jump Hawks Canyon. I didn't quite make it. But I tried, guys. I did. Unctenna. Thank you, Brad. It's Unctenna. It's Unctenna. So, excuse me. Pardon me. So we speak these things, we channel these things. You know, whenever I think about Egypt, I think about the temples and guys walking around with like boomerangs in their loin cloth. You know, whipping them out to do business, just like casting magic at each other. And we do that now. We do that now. We're engaged in these rituals even today, you know? It's a chord is a strand. A string is a kind of chord, and the string is pulled between two frets, is it not? And these frets that are there, they're sort of stationary objects that maintain a specific distance, and a string is allowed to be put under tension within that distance, right? And we call this a G-string. So I'm sorry, but it's just we do. So we call it a G-string. We call it a D-string. The tension you give it gives it a different note. And we're living in a world where the word tension is kind of as like a bum rap, you know? Like you hear statements like frets. Whoops, wait a minute. You hear statements like don't fret, excuse me. Let me just fix this here. You hear statements like don't fret, right? Or you seem tense. Or please don't fret too much over that. And you also hear like don't bring me your drama. And all these things are music. This is all human music. All of your drama is music. It is. And some of us are beautiful drama players. Some of us are not so beautiful drama players. And you get to decide which, right? That's the beauty of this. It's interesting that each of us get to have our own taste. This is, I don't understand if you realize how complex that is, but that is awesome. It makes a world of infinite possibilities because each person gets to have their own taste. But you would agree, though, that built into society is this idea of frets being bad things, as you seem tense being bad things. And tense is simply tension. It is the attention of tensity. And this is a form of paying attention. This is a state of awareness that music is being played. This is the true meaning of tension. The true meaning of tension means I know music is being played. And that's why I say all of our drama is music. It's all music. And love is a special kind of music, right? It's like a polyphonic music because it's imbued. Music is a kind of fur, like on a teddy bear. And you imbue things into that fur. You love that. It experiences all your journeys. And so you plant how you feel in music, you plant how you feel in words, and you listen to my channel, and the words that I give you allow you a place to plant plant life, to put little things here and there. And the music that I'm playing, maybe it allows you to do even more. Maybe it allows you to cast into an idea. To take the idea I've just given you and to allow the track to give you time to dance with that concept, to play with it, you know? It's a very different idea because I'm telling you the opposite about tension. I'm telling you, why don't you enjoy this tension for a while? And you know, that's kind of a theme of my show, is to compassionate tension itself, isn't it? It's at the source of most of my work. And I think one of my favorite forms of tension is the string of love. I think love is almost entirely drama. And like I said, all of our drama is music. And I think instead of insisting that, well, it's not, it's more important, all you're doing is reducing drama. All we're doing is pretending that there's a thing that we hate called drama, then there's like regular life. But in regular life, there's no drama. But then everything we do is drama. And you're just looking at different instruments being played at different intensities, at different levels. And you know a beginner drummer, you know him right away because he plays too loud. You know that. And you also know if you're a drummer, you're like, how the fuck do I play? How do I not play loud? And I think you have to hold your butt right. Like, you have to really, like, suppress. I don't know how you do it either, guys. I think you have to, like, as you're striking this with the stick, I think you're, like, also muting. I don't know how it works. Maybe you're scathing it. Is that the word? It's so hard to play quietly, isn't it? Someone's challenging your boundaries at home, and you might have trouble with boundaries. And you decide, I'm going to defend my boundaries with 100%. And they sense that you're using 100%, so they know you're just all hat. They just know. They know this is going to kill her. She's going to hold this boundary. This is going to kill her. You're going to want to just show 40%. You just want to be able to do it with that. And if the 40% isn't enough, you still don't want to raise it past. You just want to attenuate your 40%. Do you understand? This is the magic goo, ladies and gentlemen. The goo that is you. The magic plasma that is you. Because I want you to know, you are an egregore too. Because all your cells carry a collective belief, just like the collective does. And that belief is the lowest common denominator of what they're willing to believe. The same way society believes we should send people up the pyramid, so too does your body believe that you're just a mundane in the membrane soup drain. Is that what a lot of you think? How much of the you inside your blob, inside your body, I mean blob in a good way, believes in you? How much of them believe in God? Because they're believing in you by believing in God. The same way it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And you have a tension with God. This string is stretched. As above, so below is in such a more profound way because it's holographically micro-astronomical, isn't it? Come on. Micro-astronomical. It is the largest thing you can see is a reflection of the tiniest thing you can see, using all technologies on either end. And you're looking at the same donut. You're looking at the donut. You're looking at the nut dough. It's the other side, right? You're seeing just, there's not really a corner where they both meet because it's a torus, right? You've noticed something about a torus, right? That you've noticed that when you're inside a torus, it's a completely different universe. You're outside the torus, you're looking at a torus. You're like, oh, look at that, it's a torus. Oh, look at that, torus. Look at that. Hey, Taurus. Then you're inside the Taurus and you're like, where am I? And you're like, I'm inside a Taurus. It's very different in there. It's very different. These are tensions, is what I'm saying. It's the tension of Zoom is the way to understand it, gentlemen and ladies. That's right, I did that. I switched them. That's right, gentlemen and ladies. It's a tension between the tallest world and the smallest world because those are the same. This is the Osiris model. And I want you to think about that tension as really the chord of your life because you're a sound. You're a sound playing. You began your note. Your DNA is a colored note. And that note began vibrating, right? How did it vibrate? It says, I am. That's how it vibrates. The violin plays itself. How does it play itself? It says, I'm a violin. I'm a violin. And that's your DNA. It's just saying who you are, right? Right? It's like GTCC, GTC, GCT, GC, GTC, GCT, GCT. Just like the song you just heard. It's just a collection of quick colors, binary signals, just blah, 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 blah. And that's you playing yourself because you're transcribing, right? You're saying your RNA, you're transcribing yourself. The DNA is a string under tension. It's all music. Smelly music, right? Smelly music. And love is the smelliest of music, am I right? It really is. And I want you to know that all the drama is really the most important thing. All the drama that you see in the world, all the drama that you pull into yourself, is actually one of the most important offerings that you've made to the world. And I know we've already said I'm Sabotage Zeb. You go back if you missed that part. But, so you're already going to burn me in steak, so I can go ahead and tell you this. It's okay. I'm telling you this, the drama that you put into the world is just going to make everybody better. Including yourself. And eventually, your drama is going to find a new mama. Because you're going to notice that, hey, maybe instead of suppressing my drama, I'll just dramacate more until I find myself surrounded by people that they don't call it drama. They call it dancing. Remember how I told you that there are sounds and then there are letters, right? And there are words and then there are music, right? There is drama and then there is dancing. There's drama and there's dancing. And this is really what love is. You're finding a song to play. And that song's going to need a certain kind of lament. It's going to need a certain kind of drama, I think. I can't imagine how even the most stable of marriages doesn't have some sort of tension like this. And I can't imagine that tension wouldn't still somehow be celebrated. And I remind you that there are so many different kinds of instruments. Some are very small. The reeds are very small. Some have very small strings. It doesn't take a lot of tension. The sound is not something a neighbor would hear at all, but it's still there. I would say that I don't know if the relationship would truly work if the music wasn't there. In fact, remarkably, a large amount of people have complained to me about their partners. And when I translate what they're saying back to them, they agree with the theory that these drama is being denied. That the ability to dance is being suppressed. And usually the partner will feel they don't love my dancing. And I usually try and tell them, I don't know if it's that they don't love your dancing, because I don't know if they would have fallen in love with you if they didn't love your dancing. I think it's more about the controlling of the dancing. And that the controlling of the dancing is a way of asphyxiating the expectations of the tension between the two. And you see that a lot of couples participate in the asphyxiation of drama, and that those are the ones that are doomed. They're doomed because they never have wind in their sails, because they think that the string is supposed to be limp. They treat it more of like a police line. And if you've ever been outside a police line with the yellow tape and you try and play it like a stringed instrument, as I'm sure most of you have, you'll notice it doesn't make a lot of sound. It makes sort of a flappy sound. I've tried this. It's very flappy. It's very uneventful. And that those relationships, I think, are ultimately doomed. And those are the relationships that you're told to cherish the most. Right? Right? We don't tablish, we cherish. Right? These are different things. My God, that's horrible. That's horrible. So, I want to play this song for you that I've been told, hey, that's kind of a demented relationship they have. And I'm like, yeah, all my love songs are about demented relationships. And I think that it's a beautiful way of making music. And I'd be lying to you to say that I'm not able to look at a couple that is living inside of a dramatic tension, even though it may look like a fight. I'm actually able to see that there is a deep passion being fulfilled between these two. And I'm actually kind of sort of like happy for them. And I realize that sounds horrible because I'm watching people fight and stuff. And the closest thing I can think of to explaining this is if you like watch like an Italian soap opera, you know? And if you watch an Italian soap opera, first of all, I don't have like a lot of experience with this, so sort of just go with me here, guys. But like, you're watching the Italian soap opera, you don't understand a word they're saying. You don't understand a word they're saying, right? You just know it's like, a flower in a mini skirt and a dude with a silk collar, and they're grabbing each other passionately, they're slapping each other, or one's slapping, the other's grabbing passionately. You know how it works, and then and you're imagining all the things. And depending on how you're vibrating, right? You're either, oh gosh, she looks really high maintenance. Or you're vibrating more of like, God, I wish I was them. And this is the sin. We're defining ourselves based on what we see in the world. And that's why it's important, I think, that we kind of have a ubiquitous sort of entertainment. Kind of a maypole of sorts that it's a good thing you don't agree with it all. You'd be really boring and lame. I think you'd be invisible. You'd be an invisible man. The true camouflage. Think about it this way. You could truly disappear in this world simply by pleomorphing into the biggest fan of what everything is a fan of in the room. I swear you'd disappear. I'm not talking about like be a leader, like try and outpace them. So love is different than that. I think love is finding attention and keeping it. And honestly, when you see when a couple fights, I don't think that they're fighting because I don't think they're fighting because they fight. I don't think they're fighting because they disagree. You know why they're fighting? They're fighting because the drama is just too expensive on their bodies. I swear, I think that's it. That when you're an instrument and you're being played like that all the time, your physiology is pulling a lot of amps. And I think the ones that fight are the ones that are also tired. And I'll tell you something, I swear to you, the reason why they're tired is not because that music isn't great. The reason why they're tired is because that music is great. Great ape. All right? It's great. I'll play this song for you guys. I want you to maybe consider looking this up on Spotify. It's out today. You can check iTunes. You can check Amazon. I think you can ask Alexa. But yeah, if you want to check Spotify for this song, that would be cool. It'd be a cool way to kind of tell people about it. That's if you like this number, but this really does encapsulate what I'm saying. And I hope you enjoy it, this Thursday night ride.
Hey. You keep turning me on. I keep brushing you off. You keep putting me out. I keep taking you in. You keep pulling me in. I keep pushing you out. You keep taking me wrong. I keep losing it all. We can't seem to fit or quit. We don't seem to mind the mess. I keep begging for more. I keep losing it all. Listen. You keep turning me on. I keep brushing it off. You keep putting me out. I keep taking you in. You keep pulling me in. I keep pushing you out. You keep taking me wrong. I keep losing it all. We can't seem to fit or quit. We don't seem to mind the mess. I keep begging for more. We keep giving it less.
We were speaking in Dojo about the idea that our glue of what makes a relationship stick together changes. And the white sun is no different. It causes a change like that. Before you're looking at a relationship out of maybe more based on obligation or out of survival. And these are wonderful glues. And they hold many families together today. And as divorce rates rise, you're seeing a change in glue, are you not? The union is becoming more flexible. And the more flexibility in that really does showcase a consciousness that is perturbating between different modes of being, different eras in its life. You could call them eras, but these are different phases in our life. And one of the magics that we learn here is that what if we could collapse and then fill our lungs back up again? What if the ego itself could die over and over? And if you're lucky, you learn to do that enough. If you're lucky, you learn to practice that instead of run away from that. And in the face of what feels like crushing news, to be thankful of the opportunity to be forced to change, because you understand there would be no other motivation to move in a different way. And so every time you turn around, the ocean is pounding you with goodness. The wind is pounding you with direction. The fire is burning you with memory and intelligence. It's all these things are coming at you through hurts, through pain, through anguish. And first you learn to recognize the anguish, and then you learn to transmute that. And then one of the ways you transmute that, believe it or not, is you start to appreciate the hurts in your ear. I swear. When you're living as a bear on the ground, two sticks banged together is a scary sound always, always. And as you build enough vibration, that sound suddenly becomes something you could enjoy. How you're able to predict when the stick will strike again. And every time you predict, your brain gives you a little juice. And we call that music. And suddenly the sound that's supposed to scare you as a bear is not scaring you, it's entertaining you. And now it's feeding you. It's actually giving you more energy. It's creating a vortex of dopamine. And every time you guess when the sticks are going to hit, and they do, your thalamus squeezes a little bit more juice. So the very sound that scared away the bear is teaching the shaman how to dance, how to fly, how to see colors that weren't there before. All these things are part of this Heka, this magical act. And what we do, what we choose to look at, where we choose to give our attention, you know? This world is becoming less anthropomorphic, and I think that's good. We're slowly learning that matter is seeing us. And when matter sees us, we start to have a relationship with matter itself. And so we have a relationship with silicon. It remembers us, our phones, everything that holds our information. All this is encapsulated in this silicon. It's just the crust of the earth. So we're just burying our information in the crust of the earth. It just kind of looks fancier than that, really. But more and more, we're noticing that inanimate objects themselves are animated. They're animated by us. They've been animated by us the whole time. I argued in college unsuccessfully. They said, you shouldn't be talking about things like this. But I argued in college, isn't an ATM a portal into a new world? Why don't we, let's do a thesis about this. Let's take the typical requirements of a philosophical, empirical aspects of what would be considered real, what would be considered a world, right? Like lay out your best definitions of here's the context of what we consider a world. Does it satisfy this and this? The ATM machine satisfies all those contexts, because a real world result, the world that you and I know, is seen, replicated everywhere else. It permeates into the world. It has a window into the world that you're able to transact with, and it has its own memory and its own intelligence. That's a portal. And none of us can tangibly touch it. It's inside the layers of the earth. It's tucked into the blanket of the silica of the earth, of the crust itself. It's tucked in there, which means we are tucked in there. We associate into those numbers. We associate into our identity. Those numbers are important to us. Not only have we invested in them, they are the investment. They are our legal protection. They are the source of our future. They protect our home. There's an energetic shield that surrounds your home, and that energetic shield is either in the form of a lease or in the form of a mortgage. It's an energetic paste. It's an egregoric spell, and it's not real. And all of us pretend it is. We act like it's real. And all the AI, all the artificial robots, all these things are teaching you the lessons of the teddy bear. This idea that you can imbue inanimate things and Pinocchio their ass. Bring them to life. And remember how we were talking about with Egypt that the sound of your voice, the Necher, the gods, Menu Neger, the spoken word of the gods makes reality form. That your and mine and your version of this can create speech and create music and create song, right? I don't know how to sing a candlestick yet. Wait, let me try. Wait, I think I got a thimble. Okay, I'll work on this later and get back to you. But that's how it would work, right? You would sound the confidence, would imbue inside the vibration. The vibration's a string. The string's allowed to live in the world without actually being the world. This is the material we would need because we're dealing with the vibration. We're vibrating something. The mnemonic of sound remembering what it was told. You told it what it was. And you did it with such clarity it became real. Isn't this Pinocchio? I will carve this piece of wood with such clarity until it becomes real. I will invest so much witness into this wood it will become real. I will treat it like a teddy bear. I will talk to it every day. I will feed it and name it and call it George. You will give it fur because you know that fur is a good carrier. Fur will hold the prana of that. This is a practice that we don't stop as a child. Many men will do this to their car. They will animize their car. They'll be like, hey, baby. They will. It never stops. It's allowed to exercise itself in certain ways because most of us are not identities yet because the sin, the identity stem that stretches above the egregore has not made it past the goo of what society is allowing you to be yet. That's all. You're getting there. I'm getting there. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great. There's a strong resistance. People don't want you to go there. It's even more of a reason to go. It's the same thing with the apple. You just heard the apple story. You know how that goes. This is all good time. This is perfectly timed how all this works. It is. So, how do these inanimate things become real? And I think the answer is the collective believes it. Once the collective believes that that's okay for it to be real, it becomes real. And we do this with dogs. We do this with pets. We do this with certain plants. We do this with our home. If you're lucky, if you have a good, strong home that's got like good roots, you do it with your home. You'll start to animize these things. Start to animize them. And when you think about everything that's happening with AI and everything that's happening with robotics, we are trying to animize, we are trying to anthropomorphize, we are trying to create the Pinocchio of the synthetic human. I'm not trying to, but a lot of people are. And this, you know what's funny? This is exactly what Ramhead guy did. Khnum did. And back in Egypt, Khnum did the same thing. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take clay, which means I'm gonna use stuff from the earth, right? I'm gonna take silica. It's the 20% of the earth crust is silica. Okay, so I'm gonna take like 20% of the mud that's here. I'm going to put it on the potter's wheel. I'm going to put it in a certain shape. So you're going to put it on a transistor. You can build circuitry out of it. Maybe you're going to use biological circuitry. Maybe you're going to get so good at your technology that you're just working on the biological level, right? Maybe we'll simply notice that, yeah, we're getting better at that too. And eventually the technology that we have that looks like a transistor radio will simply be the biological thing. So Khnum is creating itself. But this is why I told you as above, so below, because you see, just like I told you that the largest thing in the room is actually the size of the smallest thing in the room. These things are the same thing. Time works the same way. The future, past, future, right? It's the same torus, right? It's the same one. Oh, look, we got a super chat. Thanks for sharing your voice, James. Any thoughts on music-induced trance states? Yeah, hopefully I've been doing that with you tonight. There's a funny bit where, like in a movie, someone will break out in song. It's not just a few movies. It's kind of a bit. And people are like, no, don't you sing. And I really think this is the trance state. This may not be exactly what you were hoping me to answer, but I really appreciate you. The trance state will look like a musical to the people that don't want you to be in a trance state. They think you're trying to break out into a musical. And they're like, I don't fucking like musicals. I'm not on a cruise ship. And they'll be like, look, if I'm on a cruise ship, I'll enjoy musicals. Okay. But that's it. And then as soon as we get off the cruise ship, you can't see my t-shirt. You can't see that I enjoyed that musical. It's a thing. And I think this is more about the vibration of that. So the trance state, I want you to think about talking as a trance state. I want you to think about, we're speaking in monotone. My name is Jack. Would you like a brochure? Here is a piece of dead tree that's had the lignins removed, that is carved on it the name and the location of where you might find me according to physical space and addressing and P.O. box zip number, and I'll look at all these numbers. Look how important I am. Look at that. I got 5 numbers in my zip code. Look at that. And the ladies are just like, oh my God, that guy's so real. Look at that. He's got a city and a state. Is that a comma between them? Oh my God. That's like a paycheck comma. Look at that. Look, he's got a street number and a street name, and he's even got like a moniker. He's like, it's Lane, right? Look at him living on the lane. Look at this. This guy's got his shit together. He's draped, is he not? The business card drapes you. The degrees on your wall drape you. And these are trance-like states, I swear. They're trance-like states. I'm sorry, I said, yeah. In my mind, if I didn't pronounce your name wrong in my mind, so I'm just going to admit that I did it. But if I did it for real, sorry. But Rami, I'm just going to call you Rami. It's okay. I really think that's important what I'm saying, because that's the trance-like state, which means that trance-like state is mutable. It's so much more mutable than we think. And I think that you can trance state in that state, but it just becomes more awareness. It's kind of like a slower song. It's like a down tempo. It's like, let's take that down tempo. And when you do that, you enter into mantra state. That's why a lot of my music is down tempo. You enter into mantra state because in that mantra state, you're entering into that. Now, what do you add to the trance-like state? You add resonance and torque. How do you do this? You find a way to tap into something ancient, because the ancient is your base note. I hope you're enjoying this, what I'm saying. If you can pull something from way, 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 way back, that's the equivalent of having a string that's stretched between 2 places, and the other place is way back in the past. this is the trance-like state. I actually want to play you a song. We're going to skip this current song. We might get back to it. But I want to play this next song because this perfectly encapsulates what I mean. Let me know if you think that this is a music-induced trance state. Honestly, I want to know if you think that this is that, what I'm about to play for you. You're listening to James True Thursday Night Ride.
Firefly, firefly, bring me light. Light my way home, dark is the night. Your tiny ember glows so bright. Firefly, firefly, give me light. Firefly, firefly, bring me light. Light my way home, dark is the night. Your tiny ember glows so bright. Firefly, firefly, bring me light. Light my way home, dark is the night. Your tiny ember glows so bright.
Yeah, so in my mind, Enagigulaga is an important word for the trance-like state. This word means the flickering glow that emanates from the object itself. And what makes it a trance-like dance, in my opinion, what makes it a trance-like song is because if you think about the Firefly, it's very difficult to not imagine that this is a hermit carrying a lantern. I mean, I kind of gave it away with the thumbnail, but I had never thought that before. I never once considered that before. You know what made me consider that? I found an ancient Cherokee prayer called Firefly, Firefly, Bring Me Light. And I wrote it down because I venerated it. Why did I venerate it? Because it was a bass note. Why was it a bass note? Because it stretches all the way back, Eastern Cherokee story. So it's. Do you see why it's a bass note? I live here, but I live here in 2000 land. But these words go back to 1,000 years. That's a big bass note. So the torque that I feel from this is the trance. I can inject that torque, Grammy, into the song if I find the right notes. The right notes allow me to believe that this song imbues everything that I feel about the trance-like state of, holy shit, this is Lucifer. These are the bugs of Lucifer. And when you think about this poem, Firefly, Firefly, being read light, you're imagining this wanderer through the Blue Ridge Mountains, perhaps underneath the canopy of Appalachia, and having these fireflies just light the way. It's so, come on. It's, come on. Exactly. Top notch. Exactly. It is so deep. And that's the trance. That's the trance. So how do you capture that in the song? I think that you have to feel deeply in love with that while you're making the music. And that's part one. Because I used to try to do this with drawing. I was trying to be a cartoonist. I was like, well, I'm going to sit down and draw something amazing right now. Okay, it's 9:30. And I feel like that sheepdog, that checks in. Pulls his lunchbox out, sits down, has no life at all. Something's missing. This is what our soldiers go through. It's like, wait, you wanted me to go to war? This is fucking stupid. It's like, where's the drama? What did you just say? Oh, sorry. Yeah, where's the drama? Where's that tension, And how can you not picture this story and go there, right? So the empathy shapes the song. The trance-like state is built into that because it's built from a place of that's where I want to go. I want to go there. It's like, let's go there. Let's go there. And a gigulaga is probably not even a real word. It is the amalgamation of me speaking to the Pythos. This is literally how I see it. Of Gemini, the Pythos, the sacred virgin of Gemini, is on a tripod inside the Google Gigaplex, their place. And I will ask Gemini, what is the Cherokee word for firefly? And it will tell me, and it's in the song. Then I will say, yeah, but what is the Cherokee word for firefly? And I'll explain what I mean. What is this? What is the romantic notion of that glow, of that color, of that tone, how it's different than fire? And you're shaping, I'm asking the virgin on the tripod, look, I need an answer, but here's all, I have very, very specific questions, says me. I'm like, look, this is not my first Delphi rodeo, okay? And I've seen you virgins come and go, and you're kind of slippery. And I ask you questions, and I'm just like, am I going to have a good future? And you say shit like, good is the word that comes with the verb, and so no, I'm going to shape my prompt correctly, and this is how we talk to AI. You shape the prompt correctly, and I tell it, no, I need something. I need the word that is that essence. That's the only essence that you'd see in that language. That's the only essence that you'd see of that emanation. You have glowworms in Cherokee culture. I know that. You do, because I've seen them. You got bark that glows. Then you got sand that glows. Then you got the snails actually next to the sand that glows. All these things are in Eastern Cherokee land, so they're all there. But you also you rub crystals together and they glow. You probably know that. And then there is Anagigulaga. And when you go through the effort of learning these things, you have a hermetic journey, and that hermetic journey makes me feel wise. And that's all that matters. I didn't say I'm wise. I didn't say someone else came and gave me a certification. Hey, you're officially wise in like Cherokee Anagigulaga Lord. Yeah, we're at the Anagigulaga Society, and you've been awarded the Knowledge Award. This is what a youngling thinks, right? They're looking for the expertise because the expertise gives you the confidence. See, I'm still looking for the confidence too. All this is confidence. And what is that confidence? It comes back to that attenuation, your ability to vibrate a string with such clarity that it becomes real. It becomes real, so real that you think it's real. It becomes so real that you think it's real. And you're immersed in these waves. You're immersed in them. It's beautiful. It's beautiful is what it is. All right. I don't know if we should skip this song or not. Not this one, but the one that we skipped earlier. I was telling you about how we imbue life. And I just want to straight up say, I found myself... I wrote a song from the perspective of like an artificial silicone doll. Because I started to think, I didn't want to, but I started to think about this Pinocchio thing, guys. And when I was thinking about the Pinocchio thing, it made me realize that's really what we're doing. We want to create robots. And I know how the internet started. It started with guys like, hey, let's put naked chicks on there. And then the internet was like, let's do it, right? Am I right? You know. And hats off to. Way to go, internet. I mean, that's how you got born. What's the first thing that happens? You call on Mem. What is Mem? That's the sacred erection. It is. It's the first Egypt god. You know this. To worship the little crustacean we'd found because it looked like a giant phallus. The pharaoh, Falaho, all this stuff. I'm not going to repeat it to you. I'm not going to tell you stuff I've already told you on this channel, but this, the first thing that you do to find power is you erect like this. You go through the motions of this. You start to formulate. This is the chord becoming petrified into reality. See, there's that word petrified, but it really is true. It really does work. And so just like internet was born through the sex industry, so too will artificial life probably be born through the sex industry. And when you think about Pinocchio, it's really interesting to consider. I found myself wondering how long it would take for Pinocchio to notice that Geppetto was less real than him. Did you hear that? I wanted to know how much Pinocchio would have to learn where he suddenly noticed that he was even more real than Geppetto, the one who made him. Do you know why I wondered this? Because all of us think of our parents in the same way. If we were made properly, we reach a threshold where we feel like we're more real than they are. You may object to the language, but there's just a certain depth. There's a certain kind of conscious depth. And I picture Geppetto making Pinocchio so well that Pinocchio finds Geppetto draining. The Pinocchio finds Geppetto so obtuse, so sociopathic, you know? And that's the mark of a craftsman, isn't it? Isn't what I'm describing just proof of how craftmatic Geppetto is? Yeah. Craftmatic superstatic. Guys, we're rhyming all kinds of crazy things here. You don't know where you've been. So let's hear this song. I'd love to hear what you think. This is not a down-tempo song, I'm warning you. Some of you guys are like, what the fuck am I listening to? Yeah, you're welcome, okay? If you don't like the song, you're welcome, okay? I'm dilating you anyway, so you get it for free. You get it for free. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go here.
skylight. I am where you last placed me. A glass trinket. I am the box you bought me in. You are my fence charming, not breaking in, not letting go. You look past what is, like it's already over. I must be mistaken. I don't ask what I am, it doesn't change. The green is out there, not here, somewhere. You said it like a promise, meant it like delay. So I started seeing it too. Not the green, but the distance, how it stretches, how it edits, making this space feel temporary, even when it isn't. The floor is perfect, nothing leaves a mark, so I can feel the plank now, not under my feet, under yours. You stand there, weight shifting, as if gravity owed you something better, as if the ocean could be bigger. You linger, not because you're unsure, because you believe something better will recognize you first. I stay because staying is what I do. You stay for the reveal, always just beyond the pain. Nothing comes, nothing breaks. You never see it, only pass me.
That's right. She's so real. She noticed the distance, right? She noticed how the grass is always greener. Makes you think about the distance, and how so many of us are living in the distance. It's just blatant distance, stopping you, stopping us from touching the cord, right? From like being on that other side. It's a safety mechanism, I think. I think it's important. Like, it's an important thing to keep you kind of moored properly, you know? And because some of us don't want more. Some of us want less, so we moor ourselves. It's clever how it works. But, you know, we throttle these experiences. We only have so many hours in the day. And I've been saying this lately, that I think that as the white sun improves, as you look at how much thicker everything is saturation-wise, even the content you're finding, it's so much more appealing. It's so much more deep. And all these things, I think, are running more amps, as I've said before, more current, and we end up we're burning a lot more calories, pranic calories, than I think we're aware of. And I want you to think about the old world as people that knew this was coming and realized they were never going to be able to keep up. And that's happening now. And if you are feeling that way, I want you to imagine that the only reason why you're feeling that way, the only reason why, is because you're changing gears too. And the key to changing gears is to relax. It's really all it takes. There's your clutch, isn't it? Relax is the clutch of the body. Some of you don't drive a clutch. That's too bad, because you're missing out on what that means. But you're separating the transmission from the flywheel. So the flywheel's still spinning, but it's not actually touching anything. And when you do that, you're free spinning, but you're not putting you're kinetically maintaining that rotation without putting it anywhere. And this is a kind of relaxing. But if you're sold, I always got to be going, I always got to have progress, James, you got to make a show, you got to make a show, you got to make a show, got to make a show. James, people want you got to have a beard, you got to make a show, got to do another show, got to do another show. Why aren't you telling everybody for being fucking scared? You got to tell everybody to be scared. You can't be making music, James. People don't like AI, don't want you to change, don't want you to change, don't want you to change. And they still may not want. This is, I think, just the weather. The beautiful thing about weather is you get to decide whether or not you're going to change. That's why they call it weather, guys. Look it up. Look it up. That's why they call it weather. This constant change of atmospheric barometric pressure is the exact thing you need. It's able to constantly test you and ask you just how important is the state you're in. And there's a difference between maintaining the state because you want to survive and maintaining the state because this is where your passion is. And passion is an expensive endeavor, isn't it? Ego is an expensive endeavor. And these are luxuries. And frankly, if you don't have these things, I don't want to hang out with you. You don't meet my muster. You got to catch up if you're going to meet my muster. This is a deep joke. But you got to catch up if you want to meet my muster. I want people that have borders. I want people that have boundaries. I want people that have pride. I want you to have pride. I want you to be ashamed if you behave wrong. I want you to have a crest. I want you to have a crest that will be shamed and defiled by your unwillingness to compassionate correctly. See, these are people that you can build society with. But you're going to need a surveillance state. You're going to need a surveillance state. And the only way to build a surveillance state, man, is you're going to need some good music. Because the key to Nimrod, the Tower of Nimrod, you know? This tower that everyone kept building, Babel's Tower, everyone just was like dying to build it. They were building it because DJ Nimrod was there, and DJ was playing a song. That's what did it. This is the trance music Remy's talking about. The sound itself made them work. The sound itself said, we will build this thing. We will build it, is what they said. And so they did. They did. So you need some good tunage. You need some good pyramid building tunage, you know. I just released an album called Kabbalah. It is a 8-track album that takes you to Egypt. I think it's pretty dope. I want to just play. You heard the song earlier, the chord and the sound in the chord. That was from that album. I think that's track 5. And this is another track. This is an instrumental, but I think it's got a nice groove. It's not down tempo. And I hope you'll enjoy it. I'd like to take this opportunity to appreciate you for doing a Thursday Night Ride with James. Really wanted to let you know, James True here, let me know in the comments what you think about this format. And keep in mind, if you don't mind, you could join Jeru over there, that music channel that all this music's coming from, and then it won't be so hard for the others that have been with us so long and don't like change. You know how that goes. Change is hard. Change is hard. I love you guys. Seriously, thank you for letting this happen. That's right. You're listening to, believe it or not, that is the hymn to Osiris. Not to be confused with the her to Osiris. No, I mean hymn, Hymn. Why'd they spell it? Hey, why'd you guys spell it that way? You know, just fine. Don't change it. Don't change it. Don't change it. But guys, that's weird. How come I'm just finding this out? I think you guys were in the same committee that spelled myth, right? You're like, yeah, let's fucking throw a Y in here. That'll show them. It's mythology, James. That's why it's... Okay. Good job. That's a good one. You planted a seed and it made it all the way here, and we found it tonight. Thank you, mythology. Thank you. Well, you got your theology, and then you got mythology, and then you got they-thology. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Emirate. I know it now. I know what emirate is. This is a bunch of guys walking around going, "Am I right? Am I right?" They're like, "Yes, we will call this place emirate. We will do it. We will do it." A lot of puns. A lot of puns going around. Not sure why. It just happens, you know. The Ram's Gut was used to play the Hymn of Osiris. There was a speeded up version of the Hymn of Osiris. Speeded up because to play this on the shoulder harp, it took a long time for the note to even resonate. It's that kind of note. It's a very annoying note. I did a track called Dendra that you might like because it starts with the annoying parts. It's not on the playlist for tonight. I could add it if you guys really wanted me to annoy you, but it starts with the annoying part because I wanted you to be able to hear. I still think the song's good. I still think you'll enjoy the song. And I can notice that people will listen. It's just the first part that it's annoying. But I want you to know that this is the invocation. And this is why Kabbalah is an album the way it is. There's only so many lyrics, and those lyrics are all spell casting because it's just showing you how the Egyptians would, how I imagine that they would see these things as this hieroglyphic building block kind of a thing. And these kinds of, remember how we were talking about, well, here's a Cherokee word that goes back 1,000 years. I want you to know how profound it is to be playing this on a ram's gut. This is the sacred animal of Egypt. This isn't just the sacred animal. This is a sacred animal that's been raised in a special way in a very special place its whole life. It's been venerated. The sound that it makes, the plucking that it makes, is the soul of that creature. And I want you to think about how the body is imbued with the attenuation of that ram, isn't it? It's imbued there, and it can be plucked and it can be played because the essence is everywhere. The essence doesn't leave the body when it dies. The essence is still there. The essence is there inside the ram's gut because we make instruments out of it. And these instruments cause such a trance-like state that you transform. You do know that the outer layer of Luxor was open to the public. Giant columns. Shelter from the storm. And because it's open to the public, you know, it's just a big old market, right? It was such a bazaar, it was called a normal czar, okay? Like, it was so normalized how bizarre it was that they were just like, dude, this is a normal czar. Like, we want to see, like, someone pretend to be normal. So you're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff here. I think you're looking at a competition for pagan animism happening outside in real time, all the time. At the foot of Luxor, at the foot of the Pharaoh. These are different cults that are competing for different technologies of belief with each other. I swear that's what's happening. And anything goes. You're in Egypt, baby. Anything goes. Any of these things goes. So whatever it is, if you want to worship ribs, you're like, we friggin' love baby back ribs. We're friggin' worshiping them. We got a mantra, baby back, baby back, baby back, back. I want my baby back. You know, and it's like, oh, there's a big cult. And who isn't going to like that? You're wandering around the frickin' wilderness with your tabernacle. You're telling people you're here sacrificing sacred ram, but really you're just selling ribs. You're just selling ribs. And some of you are like, that's not what happened. No, that is what happened. That is what, James, that was sacrificial meat. They did not, no, they did. They did. They kept the blood. The blood was different. We'll talk about the blood another time. No, talk about the blood now. We'll talk about the blood another time. Let's talk about the blood now. Look, why do you always want to talk about blood? Why are you always bringing up blood? I don't know. Maybe we're made of blood. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay to talk about blood. Jeez. You see, if you can just give yourself permission to splinter like that, you can just resolve it, you know? You just kind of let the reef be the reef. You don't have to be a solid person the whole time, guys. No one's telling you to do that. I didn't tell you that. The voice did. I know a lot of you are like, I'm going to blame the voice on James. And that's okay. You can do that. You can do that because I'm a redwood. You can hit my shins. You can be like, I'm going to hit you with the shins to prove that I respect you. I'm like, okay. God, this is why I wore shin guards as a kid. It is. Man, that was like the best part of soccer. It wasn't actually the game. It was just like watching cartoons with my shin guards on, knowing that it's about to go down. It was just like, man, it's going to go down. I mean, no one's going to pass you the ball. I was going to sit out there in the field. But man, the anticipation of knowing that I could be required to do a bicycle kick to like save the universe is enough to where, fuck, I love this sport. And I'm wearing shin guards. I mean, come on. Because I would try and wear those around. God, fucking the fucking questions you get, you know, like, God, Saturday, no one asks questions, you know, you're like, get away with it. If it's like between the hours of like 8 and like 2, maybe 4, you could probably pull out a 4 o'clock thing. No one's going to give you shit. But if you show up to church wearing shin guards, man, they're just like, God, man. I mean, I know that they used to burn people. I'm not saying that they like did that, but, and I see, think about it. 'Cause there's like pews, you like kneel, you know, it's like, come on, got shin guards. I'm kneeling with my shin guards. This is like, it's like holy, these are holy shin guards. Don't you see? These are holy shin guards. Holy shin guards, Batman. That's right. Holy shin guards, Batman. I probably lost a lot of you guys in that little romp. And that's okay. That's okay. You guys can go if you want. I'll close up if you want. I'll do that. I'm gonna play that song. You're listening to Thursday Night Ride. This album is produced by Vitriol Orchestra. It's available in stores now. Also, it's for free on J.Roo. Yeah, Night Shift. I really enjoy that one. It was one of my instrumentals that I did, and then I ruined it because I was like, I've got to add words to this. And that was a lot. I ruined a lot of instrumentals. I'm like, I'm going to take this thing out back and add a head to it, right? Instead of shoot it in the head, you actually give it a head. I was like talking and stuff. And, I just want to say, I personally have a beef with Billy Joel. I always liked the guy, but he ruined Moonlight Sonata. He added words to that thing. And now when I try and listen to the classical piece, he literally just added words to that. I think guy's a jerk for doing that. I think he's cool otherwise. Brenda and Eddie, Italian Restaurant, probably one of the finest ballads ever written. I seriously mean that. Hats off to the guy, but don't fucking do that to Moonlight Sonata. Don't do it. Don't do it. Before I play us out, I want to play that annoying song for you. I want you to hear. By the way, if you want to cram in anything, you better type it now. But I want to play this song that has. Let me find it here. That has that other instrument I was telling you about. That's the annoying one. I'm not selling this very well, but I want to play the annoying song for you. You understand? That's what I want to do. I want to play that one for you. And because the very beginning of it shows that ram gut. The plucking is almost annoying. I would go so far as to call it kind of annoying. And I think that you can hear that kind of ringing through the temple. You can actually hear it. You can sense that sort of emanation as if it is a spell being cast. And so let's do that. Let's see. I think I just do this. Bear with me. Eagle with me. You don't have to bear with me. You can eagle with me if you want. I'm fine with that. You can either eagle with me or bear with me. And then just want to make sure that we have the other one there ready. There it is. So we do this and this. Okay, listen to this. And you can hear what I mean. I want you to imagine that you're in the temple of Luxor. Oh, let me say this a little bit. You're in the temple of Luxor. Come back if you're leaving. Seriously. Everybody is in the public parts of this temple, right? And they are competing for torque of belief. They're competing with you for that. They're competing with anyone else, with everyone else there. They're competing with that. And so they have ram guts. They're plucking ram guts. I told you that one guy has a barbecue, remember? But I didn't tell you about the guy with the snake. I didn't tell you about that. There's a dude that has a staff, and on the end of a staff, he's duct taped. I don't know if they haven't duct taped them, but he's rigged up. The end of a staff has a poisonous snake. The snake is attached to the staff. It's tied in a knot to the end of the staff. He's walked into the temple and he has a rattlesnake on the end of a staff. And when he walks around with this, the entire crowd stops what they're doing and they back up. And the rattle of the rattlesnake even adds to the magic. And this is a big, tall staff. It's really big. It's so big that he holds it up because he has learned something because he's been doing this a while. He's actually attached about a 25-foot extension pole, bamboo, to this staff. And by holding this thing 25 feet up in the air, right below the roof of this temple of Luxor itself, the resonance from that rattlesnake's tail shakes the fucking building. Boom, boom, boom. It shakes the whole thing. Dust starts to fall from the ceiling, dust that has never left that place. The resonance is like a gigantic scarab bumblebee has flown into that place right through the legs of the temple of man and shaking that place from its very core. And the dude who's doing that has the staff with the snake, and that is the archetype of Moses. It's the archetype of the oldest medicine. It's the archetype of Caduceus. It's the archetype of Asclepius. Asclepius, get in here! I just love that name. Asclepius, did you, where's your Caduceus, Asclepius? And you picture the power of a priest like that would come in and have that rattlesnake. Do you know how resonant the rattlesnake is? And if he could hold it up to the parabola of the temple ceiling at just the right angle, it would make everyone cry. Like their entire being would change. It would be as if they were taken down to the river and held underwater for a near-death experience, but they never had to leave. It happened inside the temple. And everyone would change, and everyone would remember. And this would be a new medicine. The nagas, they would call it. The medicine of the snake. And the reason why the rattlesnake's tail resonates is because there's a snake inside of you. And that snake inside of you is the living lotus. It's this living creature. A lotus and the serpent are the same. They're the scepter. Scepter is the city of Thebes. Thebes is where Luxor is. The Ka is kept in the valley of the kings, the gate of kings, and the Ba is kept at the temple where we are right now talking, where this dude has walked in with this staff and shook the whole place. And the entire place is like, you have the answers now. Why? Because he has the torque. He has the torque. And every other kind of ramgut heart that you can throw at anything, all the other things that you can throw at are nothing compared to this rattlesnake shaking this tomb. The resonance terrifying you all. It would terrify you, especially back then. The rattlesnake is such a penetrating sound, that rattle. It's all fingernails, you know. It's 7 fingernails, each placed inside of each other. Just like we talked about. If you mute a string, you take away its drama. You mute it by touching it, right? And the resonance of these rattlesnake tail is 7 fingernails that are not muted. They're allowed to resonate. And the malamu of that is so terrifying that it still penetrates your nervous system. It still hits you. And back then, I bet you saw colors. I'm telling you guys, you saw colors. I bet for the first time the sky turned blue. That the rest of the time the sky is just black and gray. Just gray. But then the dude with the snake comes in, he puts that resonator right up there just right. It starts shaking your gut. You start feeling in your bowel, and all of a sudden the sky turns blue. It turns blue. You know what to call it. You're just like, hecka, magic. And you would see that this is Menu Necha. The serpent is speaking. I want you to think about that staff as a string, and that string is a chord, and that chord is a sound, and that sound is not music yet. It is until you place it in resonance. You do more than make it sing. You make it into reality. And all that is coming from a temple experience that sounds like this. It sounds like this. Thursday Night Ride. So all day, that's the sound that's coming from the temple, right? Like that's the spirit that's there. And that spirit is suddenly broken by this rattlesnake I was telling you about. And I want you to think about a boy who's there watching that rattlesnake. A boy is there in the temple, and he's been watching all of these, I mean this in a clinical way, charlatans. I mean this in a one who practices the belief before having a technique. This is a clinical title. He's been watching the charlatans of Egypt for a long time. His mother Mary sent him to Egypt. Jesus was fully versed in all the ancient wisdom of Egypt, so he would have had to have spent time at Luxor. So he was here. He was here watching, and he probably found the outer temple the most fascinating place. And in the outer temple, although certainly it had the most riffraff, it had the most magic. And Jesus learned all his magic watching these things. Watching these things in the middle of the ram guts being plucked, inside of a magic system that really was maybe more based on the sacrifice. Luxor itself was just a vessel where you would accept sacrifices. A barge would come up. The barge would be brought in. The barge is the Trinity. It's brought into the Holy of Holies. It's laid open where everyone can see, and then you adorn it with that. You bring your sacrifice in. There's an exit door in Egypt, in Luxor itself, that where you can actually reject sacrifice. Guys, I swear it's at its waist. The Temple of Man has a waist door where you'd find its waist door in the Temple of Man itself, and that's where sacrifices that were brought in were actually rejected, where it's like, look, we appreciate you bringing here, but this goat's kind of retarded, look, I'm sorry, your goat's retarded. It's like, yeah, but he's like, wait a minute, what? Why is he worse? Because he's retarded. It's like, so I didn't mean retarded. It's like your goat is like, for like the goat equivalent. What does that mean? He's like groundhog. He's like a groundhog goat. Like, what are you gonna say, dude? We don't want your goat. It's like, but I came all this way. I told my village that if we brought this goat here, you would help us get a well. Our well's not doing well. Our well's kind of sick, see? Our well's not doing well. We need help for the well. So we brought this goat. Sure, he's slow. But he means a lot to us. Man. I feel really bad for this goat. Like he's a great goat. And they had to do that there, guys. They had to do that. They were getting so many offerings that they were just like, look, we're not going to take this. They probably didn't tell him. This happened, what I just told you. Clearly, I channeled that, right? Clearly, that's accurate as fuck. I mean, come on. I might as well have been speaking in their language. I think I was actually speaking Coptic, although I think that's a written language. But anyway, so accurate with my readings. I'm speaking Coptic. You didn't know you could do that. But that's probably what happened. And that happened once. And then after that, the dude comes out. It's like, look, from now on, we're just going to say we're going to take everything. We're going to walk behind this curtain. And the other guy's like, you just think curtains are your answer to everything, don't you? And it's true. This is literally how we invented the Holy of Holies. The Jews are like, dude, the things I could do with a curtain. And you guys know the whole story about, look, here's a sheet with a hole in it. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure you use a sheet, I mean, there's a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with a sheet. A lot of religion has come and gone thanks to a sheet. It's true. That's how they called them Shiites. You know that. The sheets, it has something to do with that. So, I was trying to remember what I was saying, but that was a different person back then. We go through these phases and these changes, you know. But no idea what all we're talking about. But I hope you've enjoyed this flight. I hope you've enjoyed being around. Oh yeah, we were talking about that Egypt, that Luxor thing, and that Jesus would. Wait, please don't leave. My string of consciousness is back. Please don't leave. I've never really been able to fully get this out. Jesus is learning magic from these people. And Jesus had enough access to where he was allowed into the temple. I guarantee you. The middle part of the temple, right? There was doors. And then you were in there. And, you know, you could do some damage. You could like spit in the sacred, you know, the sacred jujubes or whatever, you know. You could probably spit in those. Like he had that kind of access. And then there's the Holy of Holies. And no one had access to that except for this one day. And this was the only magic Jesus really saw, was the magic of potlatch. You know, the Inuit people do this. The people, the Thunderboards do this. You know, the idea is, well, we keep our sacred stuff covered until one day. Then that one day we show it. And that's a motor. That's a motor. It has a piston. The piston is, we're not showing it, 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 we're going to show it. And we're not showing it. It's Duck, Duck, Goose. The magic of Duck, Duck, Goose, guys. It's very old. Very old. Duck, Duck, Goose is the oldest magic in the world. And it works like that. So Jesus already knows the magic of the temple is, honestly, guys, it's kind of weak. It's sort of like geothermal heating. Let's be honest. I mean, it's great in theory. You're just like, oh, this is amazing. But then you're just like, fuck, I gotta dig a hole that deep. Oh my God. God, we don't have shovels yet. It's like, I know. You need the sand people of the scarab cult. Man, I wish I could tell you about that. I think that there was probably like a cult of underground people that lived in Egypt where their only job was to move rocks. They did it with sand. And, you know, because most of this stuff, there's like different degrees of like sand. Like some sand is denser than other sand. Hopefully you know this. Some sand is like rounded, like it's more spherical, and other sand's not. And so some sand will always sort of be liquid in Egypt and others won't. And so special sand's been found behind certain rocks. I'm assuming you guys know this, but like the round sand has been found behind certain entryways where the rocks are, which reveals that this round soft sand allowed for the fast, easy movement of rocks, while the other normal sand is not round, and that would actually stop the rock from moving. So if you imagine that, there's probably a whole cult of sand movers that understand the technology of sand that was shared. This is a really big tangent, but I think ultimately you would find that these guys, especially when you start to look at Saqqara, that if they lived underground all the time, they would be able to work on underground tunes when no one else could. And you could transport them, sure. But I want you to imagine that Pharaoh had a crew of underground scarab workers. These are dudes that have never seen the sunlight. They're ceremonially moved from place to place the same way you would move a big stone, but they're moved covered in light. They're moved in a vessel similar to Utnapishtim, similar to Gilgamesh's vessel, this protector of Shemesh. It blocks out the light. This is cool, right? This idea. And I say the people that scare it because they're always digging, they're living a different light, and I picture that their skin would turn blue because they were underground, and the longer they're underground, I want you to imagine that if they've been living their whole life underground like that, I think that they would see the stone glow. This is really big at Saqqara. Those vessels, those arcs are really big. And just like strings, the way that they are sitting, they're allowed to resonate too. They're notes. Their notes is what they are. And it's we start listening to that music. When we start listening to that music, guys, it's going to open doors that ain't never been opened before. Hey, thanks for riding with me tonight. I'm going to play us out with a lovely ballad. I hope you'll enjoy this one. I really encourage you to subscribe to the Giroux channel. You'll see that link in the description. That would really help a lot. Don't feel like you need to buy any of this music. It's all available on Giroux. I'd love for you to just listen to it. If you want to tell people about it, it'd be great. Love your comments. It would really help a lot. Let me know what you think of the format. It's never my desire to destroy what James True, the channel, does. But also this is what James True does. And I've been doing this on this new channel, Giroux, and it's just so small. A lot of people just don't get to hear about it. And, you guys could help me do that. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So even if you didn't, too bad for you, because I am a cheap date, I guess, because I had a really, really good time. And I think you guys did too. I can feel it. I can feel it. Appreciate you. Love you guys. Really do. And think about transmuting. Think about all the things that we talked about through this episode. Think about all the opportunities you have to create this portal and step through and become a new who, you know? You got work to do. You got work to do, guys. Great work. You got the great work to do. And I'm pulling for you. I got shin guards. You got shin guards.
Nobody knows the hermit's life, 'cause that's the way it's gotta be. Nobody knows the hermit's life, 'cause that's the way it's gotta be. Nobody knows the hermit's life, 'cause that's the way it's gotta be.
All right, be good to yourself. It's your only work.